believe they have enough power to live their lives? How many people believe you have enough power to affect your environment? Okay, so everything is positively well. And I don't need to have, sorry.
You don't need it. It's my turn.
That's what I like, short and sweet.
But you know what, there's other people that may not be here that don't agree with that philosophy, so they'll need to hear yours.
Nothing wrong with preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I call it a season of love, I always talk about love, mainly because that is the power of the universe. And what does power mean? Power means the way I've come to learn things, interacting with people. Power is positively oriented, will-engaged reality. If you are practicing a spiritual walk with the attitude of gratitude, always accenting the positive, where your will is engaged in the reality that you lived in, then you live a powerful life, don't you? You don't worry about the negative stuff. Some people will ask me, what do I need to do for defense? But we don't do defense. What do you need to defend against? You hold the light that created the entire universe. What can stand against that? Nothing. Whatever people might do, whatever people might say, what situations might arise, what circumstances you might be going through, these are all illusions. Because the one thing we know that exists throughout the whole universe is light. Recently, I got the new Scientific American. I love that magazine. And it talked about light. And what's very interesting is, at night, we think that the night sky is dark. But it's not really. It contains the sum total of all the light there was at the beginning instant of this reality. It's just dispersed.
Mm-hmm.
So for a season, light was condensed because the whole universe was condensed. So that word season, what do we tend to think of it as? Well, season is like fall, spring, summer, or a season is just a specific period of time. So we're here in the physical. We're blessed to have the privilege of being in the physical for a season. And that season on the universal scale is a blink of an eye. How do we know this? Well, I could swear 5 minutes ago I was 21 years old. I had a different mind. I could do things differently. And bang, oh, now I'm 61 years old, and it's like, what happened? Well, for a season, things were great, and then somehow it dissipated. First part of our lives, everything is close, everything's together. Everything's all at once. That's why we have intense emotions. That's why everything seems to be larger than life. It's because it's kind of brand new. Then after a while, it kind of dissipates. No! All the love you had when you were born is still there, right? Now, it fits a larger context because when you were a baby, how many friends did you have? How many presidential campaigns are run by babies?
All of them.
Right now.
Zero.
Are we talking GOP or Democrat?
Well, babies as in biologically small individuals.
Yes,
not
they are.
mentally small. But anyway, the thing is that we find in our lives that we kind of, as things get bigger, Now, cosmologists, quantum physicists used to think all of this was seamless, right? But actually, it's all full of holes. It's like Swiss cheese. And therein lies the clue for power. You can affect, individually, you can affect that environment because of all the holes in there. Newtonian laws do not fit anymore. Somehow or another, a season of scientific investigation, we thought we kind of had reality mapped out. And we found out what? We actually know nothing. Right now, every 18 months, a lot of particle physics gets rewritten. Mainly because we had that one season where everything looked good and all of a sudden, now science starts to sound like religion. We start to understand that the mind and our own personal light might be the whole substructure of reality anyway. So the secret of having your own season of love, and how long is your season of love?
Forever.
Forever. We do not die. Your body dies, because one of the physical laws we have found out, everything decays. This universe is in a state of constant decay. Why? Because the information that's contained in the things that make up physically who we are does the same thing. It's cohesive at first and then dissipates. So when you're first born, you're highly active, no wrinkles, no sagging. You know, gravity's not just a good idea, it's the law. So those things expand and dissipate. But love doesn't. Love survives death, love survives circumstances, love survives everything. Is there anything that love cannot survive?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's your key to how you live your life. Everyone here is an eternal being of light. I think in metaphysical spirituality and metaphysical churches in general, we always kind of hear that we're not human beings having spiritual experiences. We're eternal beings learning what it means to be human. And that whole signature of learning how to be human is learning about your own light and how love serves your purpose. So all of you are miracle workers. All of you can walk on water, raise the dead. All the manifestations of the holiness of spirit and love are written in the major religious books of the world. For Christians, there's 9 manifestations of Holy Spirit. For Buddhists, there's a limitless amounts of manifestation, because all of them are illusion. So why is it then that we have bad hair days?
Gravity.
Why is it? Huh?
Gravity.
The weather.
Someone has to be the culprit.
Yes.
Right.
God. God.
Well, that's interesting. What a lot of us like to blame God.
For everything.
You know,
I know.
I have stood in hospitals and shook my fist at God right there in their chapel. But really, who's in charge?
Your own God.
Well, not that we're our own God. I mean, there is deity and there is us. There is a separation of that. And there is no separation of that.
Right.
It's kind of the big mystery. It's apart, but integral. So, the thing is that we don't believe that we're in charge. We have no season of love. We constantly think life is a battle, that life is a challenge, that life is something to be endured rather than celebrated. And we have periods, small seasons, where we come together once a week, once a year, Christmas time, or 4th of July, where we celebrate who we are. But basically, why shouldn't that be every day? Every day of your life should be cause for celebration. Why? Yeah, because you won. You can have anything you want, you can do anything you want. That's the upside. The downside is you're accountable. Right? We all know those people who like to live at the expense of others. Have you ever had that phone call where somebody says, "Oh, I can't talk to you all the way right now, but I want you to call me back"? Really? Really? And then when you call them back, they're still busy. What are they telling you?
They don't
I'll
want to
have
talk
time.
They have no respect for you. Because actually, the person who is in the attitude of gratitude, the person who is walking a spiritual walk, doesn't have to live at the expense of others. We live in service to others. And why do we live in service to others? What goes around comes around. So I'm going to treat you the best I can because I want mine too. So you can be a little selfish with that. But remember, the more you give, the more you get. Remember the Beatles song? At the end of it all. The sum of all the love yet you give is the love that you get. And when you think about that, that's the season of love. People who live in love, who live in service to others, who cultivate, celebrating life in other people, are in fact celebrating life in themselves. And it comes back. The Buddha said everything is a reflection of you. There is nothing else. So if you're having a bad hair day, whose fault is it?
Moment's
In
fault.
fact, if you really look at your bad hair day, psychologists would say something happened with your routine. We all have a routine. Every time we get up, we have things that we do. Even down to the subconscious point. How you get up out of bed. How you blink your eyes open after being asleep for so many hours. If any of that gets shifted at any point, oh no, there's going to be hell to pay because now you're unsettled. Why? Why are we unsettled? Because we have doubt. And that's the normative aspect of being human. Kant said, cogito ergo sum, which actually means I doubt, therefore I am. Because you can rationalize anything, and we often do. But what you can't rationalize is your doubt that somebody else is speaking. This is actually you. You hear your own voice and other people's thoughts and other people's sayings and other people's behaviors. Ever really been upset at somebody to the point where you just wanted to smack them upside the head and then looked at them and go, oh my God, that's me. Sometimes the one you hate the most is most like you. You know why we hate ourselves? Because we doubt that we have power. We doubt that we can live a life full of love. And love is the power. Make no mistake. What's the opposite of love?
Fear.
Fear.
No.
Absence of
Indifference.
Doubt. Indifference. Apathy. Ever had that breakup where you couldn't fight, you couldn't argue, do nothing? There was no emotion coming from the other side. That can be devastating. So, love is active. It's constantly in motion. It constantly flows and ebbs back and forth. And what our job is to do is to find that season of balance. Like the ocean tide, comes in, goes out. Not that there's absence of love, it's just that bad hair day, celebration of love. So we live back and forth all day long. It used to be thought that human beings have brains that segment particularly areas of consciousness. So sometimes we'll be in alpha, sometimes we'll be in delta, which are different modes how your brain operates. And one of the most far-reaching modalities of mind is theta. It's almost a flat line. In fact, in some religions, advanced Buddhist meditation techniques, they found that those monks, they can't register anything. It appears to be a flat line. And yet those monks have the highest states of consciousness going on. They can feel everything. They can know everything around them. And it appears that for all intents and purposes, they're dead. But you know, your brain, we found out now through neuroscience, your brain reaches all modalities all day long. So you have those elements, seconds sometimes, of self-actualization and total ignorance. Have you ever found yourself in the middle of a situation going, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
What the heck did I do that for? I have no idea.
You have to experience that. Don't do it again.
And so sometimes it appears we forget to love. But if you accept that you're in a human body and that human body's decaying, you allow for those instances, they start to minimize. If you make your season of love all about power, and we're not talking about Machiavellian power. Machiavellian power is political power. So a lot of people strive for that through money, through prestige, through entitlement. Large part of our problem as a society right now is political correctness and entitlement. We think we're entitled to something just because we're here. And that would be false. So, but Max, you just told us we can do anything we want. Well, anything you want in service to other people, right? Because you're accountable for what you want. And you don't live here alone. Does anybody live here alone? I used to think I lived alone. And then I disappeared after, you know, my divorce. And people started calling me out. You know, where'd you go? What you doing? So, and one person kind of hit me with the accountability factor and said, I'm not feeling the love. You're the love guy, and I'm not feeling the love. So I had to do the reality check because I was in the non-consciousness area of my life. Sometimes we're too busy being hurt than to understand that if you don't want to be hurt anymore, you need a tractor and a golden chain. And after that exorcism, things seemed different. So I have declared in my reality, your reality may be different, by the way. So we have an unlimited amount of realities that exist together. That there is a season of love. And the season of love forces me to become engaged in my reality. Whether I like it or not. And so sometimes I go kicking and screaming there. But after a while, you know, it's not so hard. Because people who live powerful lives don't have to work at it. Ever notice rich people don't work? Yet they'll tell everybody to work hard. Why is that? What do they know that we don't? You don't have to work to be rich. You have to think to be rich.
We're smart.
Yes. Well, not even work nowadays. You know, the good example is that we have record levels of the stock exchange. Yet the true value of the stocks is overvalued by over 80%. What's going to happen when there's an adjustment for that? As soon as the Federal Reserve starts upping the interest rate. Yeah. So people for a season, well, it's gotten to be where it's the big supercomputers gain all the profit. So how can you gain all the profit?
You play God's stock market.
Does God have a stock market?
Of course he does. If it's in your brain, do it.
No. You know what God's stock market is?
Tell
What do
me.
you want?
Exactly.
Answer that question every time you look in the mirror when you get up. You have a good day. And how much is your stock worth?
Eternal life.
Priceless.
It's priceless. Yeah, money can be exchanged. But we sell our soul off every day to other people, other things, circumstances. Keep your soul. Use it for yourself rather than give it away. And that's my message.